I hesitate as I'm sitting here wanting to just start filming because I'm trying to get this kind of control, like, well, I gotta get my mind in the right place and I gotta be ready, and I was already, been at work, just kind of caught off guard, not prepared to do another video. But once again, I just do it in all of the discomfort and perplexities and all the feelings and emotions and things just really start to slow down once I begin, because I'm back in that place again of just being on the spot and maybe being a little bit more aware of myself this time, and not being so nervous about how I'm going to come across and who I'm speaking to. And that's one of the things hopefully I'll address here, in that I thought that it was really cool making a vlog, 2 of them at first, but I got so obsessed that I wanted to see, like, who commented on this and who watched this and what do people think, and it turned away from wanting to hear from other people and just wanting to be heard. And so I gave myself a little bit of time so that I didn't kind of feed into that by trying to keep pumping out videos just for the sake of, and then there's that fear of, if I did that, then certainly I'd start to make a fool out of myself if I'm just pushing these videos just to get a reaction, out of myself or of others. And I want to move forward from that, because I do recognize that putting myself here in this position is still just as good as it was, when I first had the idea of implementing the camcorder device that I have here. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to be obsessed with being seen. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to turn a conversation with myself and a camera into this whole network of power of, oh wow, look at me, I'm on TV, look at me, I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to not take this moment here with myself and the camera and whomever might watch to just breathe, to take things slow, to give something to myself that then others could receive as seeing me here and seeing me trying to do something good for myself within making the video. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to compromise myself, as seeing that making a vlog is intimidating and it's nerve-wracking maybe the first time, but that it can be something good, and then taking that point and compromising it as saying, well, I want to be noticed now, and I want to be popular and make really good videos. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to fear facing this point within myself, as I've been withholding myself making any more videos to not act on that point. It doesn't mean that I'm actually and self-honesty, introspecting and stating myself as stopping it and committing myself to not allow this behavior to persist. And it's still a practical decision in that it's just a real assertive thing I'm doing over the past week by not feeding into this and facing the point of vlogging within self-forgiveness of vlogging while doing it is kind of calming. It's like it's all here, and I can just face it, and I don't need to worry about anything else. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to unconsciously present myself a certain way where I'm responding to all these thoughts and feelings of wanting to be seen a certain way, and then just letting it happen and not dealing with the thoughts, not dealing with the back chat in my mind, just the clutter of it all, and in that letting something else within my mind take over and start presenting me a certain way that I don't need to be presented as. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to fear those pauses that I take. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to hold myself in suspense in these moments of pauses as thinking about what I'm going to say. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to suppress and restrain myself because I want to force myself to keep my video moving forward. But I don't need to make this video go any faster or slower. I need to use what time I have to look into myself and do what I need to do for myself. And what I realize is that in doing that for myself, other people can watch the video and see that, see it in themselves, see if I could maybe do it differently, do it better, but not to the point of this is how my video is going to be, and especially not when it's, well, I need to make it this way because people will prefer it that way. And so that time of not forcing myself to do another video is easy enough because, you really have to get set up, and then, you have to think about what you're doing in that moment. But where I am right now and some of the things I'm dealing with, it's kind of reflective of how if I were to just keep pumping out these videos and just letting my thoughts run away with me, and that's what I start to be presenting as myself, as what I'm allowing within the videos, it's very reflective of something that I just recently have started facing within myself in my relationships with other human beings, where, be it whatever the situation, I can just tend to just talk and talk and talk, and it can reach this point where I'm just talking, I'm just going with it, but what I'm going with is something that leads me into conflict, and that's just something that I've somehow been doing, that I've taught myself to do, that I've defined myself as my personality, this is how I behave, and it just leads me to lots of thinking and thoughts and just the dynamics of this relationship, just talking to another person, and then all of a sudden it's spun out of control because I've become possessed just by these thoughts and feelings, and all of a sudden I'm like maybe it'd be better just to not say anything at all. And the question is, it's not like I'm abusing like another person and just having a conversation that could, go anywhere. But it's that when I'm inciting a reaction within myself or someone else, am I causing more harm than I am good in just taking it back, just stopping and breathing? And then you stop and breathe and take things slow, and then you question, why incite conflict between me and another person, even if it is on a smaller scale, just a casual conversation, maybe bringing up something like a heated political point. Why incite that? Why not take it back to myself? Why involve someone else? And I think that's maybe an important point to recognize. Why make someone else complicit in this heated conversation when really it's something that requires my own self-honesty, and the input of others is good, but it's just a matter of how I involve others in my own behavior. And I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to let my character of energy and personality take over my conversations. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to fear that without a character to speak as, without these thoughts and feelings, that I can't have a genuine heart-to-heart conversation without being influenced by all these mechanics of this is how you do it, and say this and say that, and it's like all this clockwork I'm just watching, and it's like I'm not even speaking at this point. There's just some agenda in my mind that's trying to force something through, and that might just be something that I don't see as being very supportive for either party. Even if I was just to consider that you might just say, anytime you're just here breathing and are still directing yourself and not all caught up in your thoughts, you're more able to act on yourself here and your breath, and just more here with yourself and what you're saying. And then that might as well always be better. So it's not to place a judgment on a certain kind of talking, but it's that allowing all these compulsive thoughts and feelings to be expressed. Am I not feeding into them by giving them this platform? I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to give these thoughts, feelings, and emotions a platform to manifest themselves as me, as my word. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to define the manifestation of these thoughts, feelings, and emotions through my character as how I speak and behave to be who I am. I forgive myself for accepting and allowing myself to not discover what do I manifest as my words when I'm here, breathing, directing all the points of anxieties and hesitations, thoughts and emotions, and what remains. And certainly I couldn't really even say, if I just had a quiet moment though, that would be better, to just have quiet, not as nothing is moving, but as I can see that by breathing I'm calming things down, and that is a better place to be when you're trying to interact with people. I commit myself to improve my relationships by implementing this point of self-forgiveness when and as I see myself going into my mind and speaking this agenda of say this, say that, don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's clearly coming out of this network of my mind system, to stop, breathe, and direct myself here within my breath as I can be closer to that point of not being moved by all these things. And so I'm not just going to be able to just have nothing move within me and be able to talk to someone from that point, because I'm not even within that point in myself. And not just that it's better, but that I recognize in self-honesty what I'm permitting through one and what I'm permitting through the other, and maybe just drawing the line with myself and saying, no, you can't just be perfect out of nowhere and be able to have these great, sincere, self-honest relationships with anyone. But that it is self-support in making that decision of this is better and this is what I need to do. One of the things in my first video was I was watching it and I'm like, wow, my voice was deep. I have such a deep voice. But when I talk to a lot of people, I notice, I think that it was the nervous, the just response to, wow, I feel like all eyes are on me. I'm like, I was clenched down and I was nervous. And then in the second one, I was like a lot more comfortable. It was like a polarity, kind of like, wow, now I'm way into this and this is fun. And maybe now I'm like somewhere in between those two. But I just hear the way I speak in the video. It might have been the way that it's coming through the recording device, but I'm like, I'm not that deep and like bulky guy, you know. And one of the things is when I'm with friends or family or, you know, people I'm comfortable with, I find myself being extremely expressive, and I want to be able to continue to support myself within that by maybe even just drawing the line, like I was saying, where, yeah, be expressive, hand motions, and wow, look at this, but not to the point of, you know, honesty without self-honesty, where I'm not just expressing every single thought and feeling and emotion, because that's not so much of me expressing myself here, that's me trying to bring all my thoughts and mental problems into the world, you know, just like if they weren't already going to seep through just unconsciously through being inept and just letting things breeze by, letting my life just pass me by, and all of a sudden, oh, look what I've done. It's more like, by trying to bring it all here now, it's like, I already know, like, I have these bad things of parts of me that are not supporting anyone, that are not going to stand for what life needs to become. And just saying, I don't care, I'm just going to bring it all down, I'm going to bring you down with me, you know. And that would be why there needs to be a line drawn where I want to be expressive and be able to express, maybe sometimes I would express, you know, a feeling or emotion, like, wow, I feel so happy, wow, this is great, I'm very happy. And then by putting that out there, and being able to analyze that, I can still take it back to myself. And then it's not just, I remember in that moment I felt very happy. It's like, wow, I was really happy, and look at how I was dancing and moving, and I was happy, and everyone was happy. And then, yeah, happy, it's like I was saying in my last vlog, I was really happy with, oh wow, I was so happy with how I made a vlog and then it got cut off due to the technical error, the computer erased it. But that happiness, like I said, it wasn't real, I was happy because I made something in my mind. Then when it was gone, there was no happiness left. It wasn't here with me. I wasn't standing as it. It was nothing. But I was still I remember in the video I kind of expressed it I was really happy with that. And that's not to say, let's all just be happy all the time. I was happy. I'm going to keep being happy. It was in that moment, I was happy. And then I did self-forgiveness for it. If that wasn't just, I was happy, and I expressed that, and then I'm just going to go the rest of my life in a haze of just being happy, I used that moment to express that emotion, I guess that feeling, I might say, to actually introspect it, and I want to encourage that, and yet still be able to understand that you don't want to negatively affect other people. It's hard to see it now, but through what I've been experiencing recently, it was clear in that moment that I need to be more cautious. I need to be more considerate. I need to be able to stand within myself and not expect everything to just come together like I can just talk my way out of a situation. Well, I just want to thank anyone again for watching this, and I want to thank everyone for being there, and I do appreciate anyone who's trying to walk this process and even considering it, just learning, listening. It all comes together, and we could all really do something good if we just commit ourselves to what really needs to be done. And thank you again.